Well, I could say never would I have imagined, or never in my wildest dreams would I ever thought that when I started in this business over 25 years ago myself, that the reach of the gelato would, and the overall knowledge of gelato have gotten to where it is today. With 2 stores operating in Calgary and our main store in Vancouver, and being in business in Canada, our family with Mario's Gelati for close to 50 years now, and our family making gelato for over 92 years. I never could have imagined the reach where we would have gotten in the last 50 years since Mario's Gelati's been started up in Canada, and our family's been doing this business since 1929. And for me, in my wildest dreams, I never would have thought we would have got to this point, and for me is the most amazing experience of my lifetime. Well, Amato goes back with our family to Amato, Italy in Calabria, where we also got started. My uncle's grandfather started making gelato in the town in 1929 on our farm, on the family farm. And we used to use honey and milk and nuts and fruit, and he used to come up with these recipes and go from in Amato and around the town to Lamezia, to Catanzaro, to all these little towns and major cities that are around Amato, selling gelato. So he got back into his craft of restaurant, and he had a very unique kind of concept at that time. It was kind of like a supper club, but the menu would be different every day. He'd go shopping every day, and it was only open from about 5 until 3 in the morning, and people getting drunk and dancing and all this kind of stuff. But in the restaurant, he used to start making gelato for the guests. And a lot of people, the guests were asking, can we take this gelato home? Can we take this gelato home? And he's like, okay, kind of thing. So it kind of got us started there with the gelato, bringing it to Canada. So he got an opportunity when Granville Island first was under construction to take over a space for lease over there. So he decided to do like tavolo calda with pasta and sausages and all this. And one of the items that he put in there was a nice display case of gelato. And nobody was really doing gelato at this time in terms of scooping and all that. So he's like, okay, maybe there's something about this. And then the chefs started coming to the island because they're doing their shopping and getting ingredients and doing all this thing. And they started asking for the gelato for the restaurants. And he's like, okay, this is something pretty good. And when we built the production facility, had the very first Amato Gelato in recognition of our town, Amato, on the main level of the street at the bottom of the factory. And that's when I started working in Vancouver, and with Mario. I was doing sales and working in the store. I was 15 years old at this time. And in the early 2000s, a lot of the chefs were coming to Alberta from Vancouver when the boom was happening during the oil boom in 99, 2000. And that's when I moved from Vancouver over here to set up distribution and set up the very first Amato Gelato here in Calgary in 2003 when I was 21 years old. My life changed the minute I left from Vancouver to a place that I could have never thought I was going to go to. When I first got to Calgary from Vancouver, when I was selling gelato, nobody even knew what gelato was here. They thought I was selling Jello. The nice thing is that the turning point, I think, for me was getting in touch with a lot of the restaurateurs and the chefs that were that left Vancouver to come in Calgary, going to the Palliser in the Westin and the Marriotts. Those customers were buying product from us in Vancouver for over 30, 40 years. So once I got a little roll on with those guys and got the Italians going. So in 2003, I found an old building in the community of West Hillhurst. And it was an abandoned Dairy Queen, actually. And I was doing a delivery across the street to a little Italian restaurant. And I saw the gentleman from the real estate putting the tape around the window. So I jumped the curb with the van. Went inside and I said, what's going on here? He's like, oh yeah, I know the Dairy Queen's gone. And I said, I'll take the building. And he's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, don't you want to? No, I said, I'm good. Sign me a 20-year lease. So I went to his office the next day. We signed the 20-year lease, 10-year and a 10-year option. Mario came down from Vancouver. We started ripping the whole store apart in about 1 week. We took the whole store apart down, got the contractor coming in and give me a hand to build all the store. Mario set the equipment, and within 6-7 months, we had ripped that Dairy Queen apart, started the first one, and it was just craziness out of the gate. It was a funny story though, as I told the community, because the community kept on coming to ask us what was going to be putting inside this store. And I told them it was going to be an adult video store. I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. And the neighborhood was pretty pissed. We had a petition going on with the neighborhood with a bunch of the ladies and the gentlemen in the thing. They had about a 300 signatures on the petition from the whole community of West Hillhurst, demanding that I didn't put an adult video store there. And I waited for the sign to go up the minute that the store was going to be open. So the minute the store we opened on June 20th in 2003, they were one of the first customers I was waiting there. And she comes in and she's like, Dino, you're a son of a bitch. 2023 will be our 20-year anniversary over there and at the Kensington location. And it's just been craziness. Ever since we opened up the doors back in 2003, from April till the end of September, October, we have at least 1,000, 1,200 people come through every day. Nobody knew what gelato was. Nobody ever seen those display cases before. Nobody ever had that experience unless you took a trip to go to Italy. And for me, it was a major. I can't even describe the words in terms of being able to educate a whole city on what is our culture and what we do in terms of gelato business, and it's been an amazing ride. So when Frank contacted me to open up my really authentic Italian bar, I had the opportunity to do so, and in February 2022, this year, we opened up Calgary's first authentic Italian dessert bar, and it's been the first Italian cafe that's been on 17th Avenue in the history of 17th Avenue, so I'm really proud of that, and it's just been amazing to see that transform and to give a little bit more culture in terms of what we're great at doing. I think who I really want to give a shout out to is all those customers and all those clients that supported Mario's Gelati back in the early 70s in Vancouver, that got Mario and Mario's Gelati brand noticed in Vancouver. Now you can find it in pretty much every restaurant and grocery store. So those customers I'd like to thank, because those were the die-hard original grassroots customers that got it. And my customers here in Calgary that supported us, that didn't know anything about gelato. Second off, I'd just like to thank Mario and Chris for trusting me when I was a young kid, coming there and teaching me and getting me going, because without them and their guidance and their knowledge in this whole thing, I wouldn't be anywhere in my life, to be honest. I'd probably be in jail somewhere. And last, I'd like to thank my partner, Daniela. She's just amazing partner. And, when you work 18 hours a day, you need to have somebody that supports you, and she supports me from the top to bottom. Been here 20 years, 25 years plus, and it's been an amazing ride. If you would have asked me back in 2000 when I first came to Calgary if this would have been a success, I probably would have said no when everybody asked if I was selling Jello. I was calling Mario to say I'm coming back to Vancouver because I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. But after 23, 24 years of distribution and getting my chance to open up my dream store on 17th Avenue this year, the response has just been amazing. Calls are coming in from all over the country for us to want to start franchising, and this is something that Mario and I have been working on for many, many years. And we're gonna just start to grow this thing, because I think that what we have is very unique, it's very proprietary to what we're doing, and this is what we feel that the market's lacking. And I think where we're going with this over the next 5 to 10 years is wholesale keeps on growing. We keep on picking up new markets, new countries, even shipping to Japan and Korea these days. And I think with the reach where we're going with the Mario's Gelati wholesale is just phenomenal. And I think where the sky is the limit in terms of where we can bring this Amato Gelato Cafe brand to Albertans and to the rest of the country is looking very promising. And for me, people ask me, what am I doing now over the last course of the 25 years? Are you going to slow down? Are you going to start? Are you going to start opening up more stores? And for me, I don't see any roadblocks in front of us. Our wholesale's growing. My uncle's 82. He's still working, busting everybody's chops. And for me, it's just all about the self-gratification and satisfaction that I get from creating new environments for people to hang out with, new communities. And for me, I just hope you guys all just come along for the ride, because it's going to be a very interesting ride.